Good evening, everyone, and welcome to, I'm going to call the meeting to order for the Public Works and Transportation Committee for April 8th, 2025. Madam Clerk, may we have a roll call and posting of the agenda followed by the Pledge of Allegiance?
Chair MacArthur.
Here.
Committee Member Basua.
Here.
Committee Member Teran.
Here.
The agenda for this meeting was posted in the kiosk at City Hall, the Oxnard Public Library, the city administrative offices, and also on the city's website on Tuesday, April 1st. Thank you.
Thank you. Can we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please? You will lead them?
Sure.
Pro Tem, yeah.
Okay. Let's place our right hand over our heart. Ready, begin. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for leading us with that. So we'll move to the next item on the agenda, and that's for public comments for items not on the agenda. Madam Clerk, do we have any public speakers for this item?
Chair MacArthur, yes, we have one virtual speaker, and we will start with that. So caller ending in 2521, please press *6 to unmute. You can state your name for the record if you'd like, and you have 3 minutes starting now. Oops.
Go ahead, we can hear you.
Yeah, hi, good evening. My name is Grant Kennedy, and I represent a member of the community, a citizen, a resident. And for over a year, we've been trying to get a permit, a simple permit for a piece of commercial property. And that's a long time, long time. Now, I don't know, have you ever been in a situation where you go into a restaurant and maybe they're not waiting on your table, or maybe nobody's taking care of you, or you go in a department store? How does that make you feel? You know what I mean? When that happens to you. Now, the thing about this situation is if you look around Oxnard, it's a blighted area. There's so many vacant buildings. There's so many buildings that could have a use, but everybody, you're really just, to put it bluntly, you're really just destroying your own profitability for your neighborhood and keeping it trash. No offense, but look around. My God, you guys don't have the time to take care of business, or what? You only open part-time? What the hell kind of deal is this? Who else would put up with this with any other business? Let me know that, would you please? Somebody needs to wake up over there, and I'm telling you, this is reaching a boiling point with a lot of people in the community. I talked to people who have been waiting 500 days. One other gentleman, another lady. Everybody's upset with you. Why can't you do your jobs? What does it take? Does it take a good scolding? Does it take anger? Does it take marching? Does it take lawsuits? What does it take? Please, to wake somebody up. I want you to think about that. Okay? I want you to get somebody off their ass and get our permit done, because this has just gone on too long, and I'm out of patience. My client's out of patience. And I'm just asking you most respectfully as I can, because nobody in the community deserves this. And if you're sitting there with smiles on your face thinking, ha, 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 look at this guy. We're going to do nothing for him, and he's pissing us off, so we're really going to do nothing. That's not the work, folks. That's not the work at all. You need to be adults and do your job. You should be embarrassed of yourself so you can't get stuff done faster than this. Look at Westlake. Look at the community surrounding you. You're living in a garbage pail because you can't get anything done. You should be embarrassed of yourself. I hope you are. And I'm apologizing for saying that to you, but what else does it take? We've tried to be nice. We've waited, we begged. My client's gone over there and cried at the counter. What does it take? Please, would you think about it? Please. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kennedy, for your comments. Madam Clerk, is there another caller?
Yes, we have City Manager Nguyen, who's going to be speaking.
Yeah, I'm much shorter than the last guy. So that was a pretty dramatic public statement. So let me just cut to the chase. And Of the many things I can speak to in this particular moment, let me be clear about a couple of things with regard to what our community deserves, which is not this. Having a property where people live in makeshift dwellings, within commercial buildings, unpermitted, unsafe welding, use of non-permitted spray booth, blocking of fire access, no fire extinguishers, and open burning. Just some of the issues at the property that this attorney is speaking about. So we welcome, if the council, the committee wishes, we can give a more robust, fuller update at a city council meeting, because I have to say, on behalf of the administration, that's just an outrageous statement, and particularly untrue. Thank you.
Thank you, City Manager. Does that conclude the public speakers for this
It
item?
does, Chair MacArthur. Thank you.
Thank you. If there are no further comments, the next item on the agenda is a consent agenda. And the only item is the approval of the minutes for the March 25th, 2025 Public Works and Transportation Committee meeting. Do any members have any questions or comments on this item? Okay. If there are no comments, then I move to approve the minutes. Is there a second?
I'll second.
And Chair MacArthur, just for the record, we do not have any virtual speakers in person or virtually. So we'll start with the roll call. Committee Member Teran?
Yes.
Committee Member Basua? Yes. Chair MacArthur?
Yes.
And the motion carries 3-0. Thank you.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is item D1. The subject is fiscal year 2025-26 utility rate payers assistance program. The recommendation is that the Public Works and Transportation Committee recommend that the City Council, one, adopt a resolution for the utility ratepayer assistance program for fiscal year 25-26 to assist eligible Oxnard residents and authorize staff to grant financial relief equal to a monthly $25 maximum credit per utility bill charged to residential customers who meet the eligibility requirements discussed in the staff report up to the amount funded for fiscal year 25-26, and two, authorize staff to fund Project Assist in fiscal year 25-26 by utilizing $270,000 that has been paid to the city for current and prior year late penalties from city utility customers. Any committee members have any questions of staff on this item? Go ahead, Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Yanis, and to the team for this item. I know this is a regular occurring item to come before committees and then to the City Council. I'm wondering if we can just give a brief synopsis on Project Assist and how this works for income eligibility, and then the mechanics of the amount we have set aside for X number of qualifying individuals or ratepayers, I guess, customers who would be able to take advantage of this program.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem, Mayor, Councilwoman Basua. Brian Yan is Assistant Public Works Director. Project Assist is a financial relief program that is funded through our late penalties. And this is our, right now we're going to complete our 8th year. It goes by fiscal years. We've had 805 budgeted for the program for the last 6 years. This last fiscal year was, which is the one we're in now, was a budget of $241,500, which allowed 805 participants to participate in the program, and that's if everybody signed up in July. So that equates to full participation for 12 months for 805 people that would be budgeted for that $241,500. This year we're asking for a little bit more funding. We're going up to $270,000. This will allow 900 participants to sign up for a 12-month period. This is the first year that we've had a waiting list. We began a waiting list in February 2024. And so we felt that offering it to or expanding our number of participants would hopefully help us with our waiting list, and we wouldn't have participants on the waiting list. Residential customers qualify through Edison or Southern California Gas. They're in their program, which is a California Alternative Rates for Energy, which is the acronym is CARE. So if our residents, customers are already participating in the CARE programs for Edison or SoCal Gas, they qualify for our Project Assist program. They fill out the application, we verify that they're in the program, we get them going, we get a utility billing, and that $25 credit is then adjusted on their utility bill monthly for all three of our utilities, which is solid waste, refuse, water, and wastewater.
All right, thank you very much. And I appreciate all the info that was put forward, including the request to move up to 900 customers for this. Looking at the beginning of the program in fiscal year 17-18, it's just been a consistent increase fiscal year over fiscal year. So I appreciate us looking at that data and adjusting accordingly. Not for this year, but between this year and next year or future iterations of this, and perhaps our city attorney can weigh in on this. I'd certainly like to look at how we're structuring this as far as the allowance for each monthly bill. I know we've had this discussion in the past. Just knowing that our solid waste rates did go up last year, and if there's a proportional increase we can do that doesn't put us in any odd places with Prop 218 and us using the late penalties to fund this exercise. So I don't know if Mr. Yanis or Mr. Wolf or Ms. McCarran would like to speak to that.
So I'll take a first swing at this one. So in the cost of service analysis for the most recent rates that we've done, which is the water rates and the solid waste rates, we actually use or identify the late penalties to the extent that they are being used as part of the operational component to keep some of the rates lower than they would. So we cannot, or we should not, be double dipping in that fashion. So some of the late penalties are already accounted for in the cost of service analysis. So we keep that in mind as we build the Project Assist program. And so each one of those utilities in their cost of service analysis have identified a certain amount of the late penalties that we have to keep for the operational side of the house. And then we go through the exercise of how much is then available to fund a ratepayer assistance program. And so we don't want to overuse this program because these are forward projecting estimates. And these are obviously based on penalties and not necessarily actual, these aren't things that get assigned. These are penalties that may or may not occur in the future. So I would just be very cautious about creating something that we cannot actually afford going forward. But we do this analysis every time we bring forward this program.
Great, thank you. And just beyond that, Mr. Yanis, for anyone who would like to find out about the program to see how to apply and if they're eligible, do we have a phone number or email address they can reach out to?
Yeah, so one of the things that has increased our participation is the webpage, social media, and staff has really made it easier for our participants to sign up through the website and calling in and getting assistance. So applaud to the staff who's assisting our customers with this program. But yes, they can call 805-200-2202. That is the phone number. You can leave a message. Sometimes it is answered, but we do get back to our customers as soon as possible. And our website is a little long, and we're working on to condense our website address. But one of the things I could say is if you Google Project Assist Oxnard, it comes right up on top. But the website is www.oxnard.gov/finance/utility-billing/project-assist. So that is the website will get you to our page where there is an application you can download or a fillable form on that page to submit your application, and it allows you to download your care participation with Southern California Edison or SoCal Gas, and then program starts. We'll check for we'll check it and then confirm with the customer that their participation and application has been accepted, and they will begin to receive their credit on their monthly bill depending on when they sign up, right? So if they sign up in July, early enough in July, we'll get them started in July. If they start in later, they may start in August, et cetera, throughout the 12 months.
Great, thank you. I think Mr. Wolf had something to add.
Yeah, I did want to add that in the staff report, we do also identify a couple of non-city opportunities for folks to take a look at other means to have assistance from other programs. So there is other opportunities for folks to get assistance.
Yes, thank you for that. Can you repeat the website, Mr.? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
That tongue twister? The number.
Yeah, you can do the number again if you'd like.
805-200-2202.
Great, thank you. And if the clerk wouldn't mind having the website in the minutes, I think that would be helpful for folks too. Great. Thank you, Mr. Yanis. Thank you, Mayor.
Yeah, absolutely. Councilwoman Basu, I don't know if you have any comments.
No, thank you.
This is a great report, and I appreciate that. I'd say that in the staff report, it's always good to market this information out so people are aware that they can receive these benefits. So in full support of this program, so thanks for the wonderful report, Mr. Yanis. I make a motion to approve as recommended.
I'll second.
Is there any speakers on this item, Madam Clerk?
Chair MacArthur, we do not have any speakers in person or virtually.
Thank you.
Committee Member Basua?
Yes.
Committee Member Teran?
Yes.
Chair MacArthur?
Yes,
And the motion carries 3-0. Thank you.
thank you. Thank you, Mr. Yanis.
Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is item D2. It's regarding agreement with Carollo Engineers for Biosolids Master Plan. The recommendation is that the Public Works and Transportation Committee recommend that the City Council approve and authorize the mayor to execute an agreement with Carollo Engineers for an initial term of 1 year from May 6th, 2025 to May 5th, 2026, with the option for a 1-year period extension ending May 5th, 2027, for a total contract amount not to exceed $423,422 for the development of Biosolids Master Plan for the wastewater division. Yeah, any members of this committee have any questions, or Mayor Pro Tem, would you just like an overview of this item? Yeah. I think we should just have a brief overview for our listeners, for the public, to understand what this is asking for.
Certainly. So at the wastewater treatment plant, we do create, let me introduce myself.
Yes.
So committee chair, committee members, Tim Beeman, Assistant Director of Public Works, overseeing water and wastewater. So at the wastewater plant, you may remember a few months back, we actually brought a staff report for your approval that had with the solids hauling, and that's where we actually haul the solids off of the site and we dispose of them at a facility in Kern County. But there's many aspects of that, and so these solids are created through the regular wastewater stream. They're collected, they go through co-digestion, which I believe Mr. Hauser had a photo in the presentation. One of those is being rehabbed right now, our digesters. And then through that process, we create methane gas. We also have solids. So that solids is processed. The methane gas is used for cogeneration, where we create about 25 to 33% of our own power at the facility. And so these are many different aspects of the treatment plant itself, but it's all part of the biosolids handling. So as we've taken these steps through the reliability project and then the next big improvement projects, these master plans are really what's setting the roadmap for what we'll be doing next. And so this is an important aspect of that. As the staff report notes, a lot of these facilities are fairly old. I wouldn't say that they've reached the end of their useful life, but we definitely have been spending a fair amount on maintenance. We also have, because of the interties with different systems throughout, if there is a failure, it can disrupt another part of the treatment process or the solids handling process. And so we wanted to put together a master plan that says, here's the best way forward. So if there's any new regulation in terms of, so with cogeneration, we're actually creating emissions, and so there's regulations on that. Is there a better way for us to handle our solids? Is there something more efficient we can be doing, something that we can bring us into this century? Because these were all built in the 70s.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Any committee members have any questions of staff, or are there any callers for this item, Madam Clerk?
Excuse me, Chair MacArthur, we do not have any public speakers in person or virtually for this item. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? No? Okay, I did appreciate the way you outlined and how you arrived to that number and I think the compensation template you put together, so I appreciated that. Thank you. I would just make a move to accept the recommendation. Is there a second on that?
Yes, I'll second.
Committee Member Basua? Yes. Committee Member Teran?
Yes.
Chair MacArthur?
Yes,
And the motion carries 3-0. Thank you.
thank you. The next item on the agenda is item B3. Subject is multiple agreements for on-call professional environmental services. The recommendations of the Public Works and Transportation Committee recommend that the City Council approve and authorize the mayor to execute the following agreements, each with an initial term of 1 year from April 30th, 2025 to April 29, 2026, with an option for 4 consecutive one-year period extensions ending April 29th, 2030 for on-call professional environmental services. And there's 3 agreements. The first agreement with Rincon Consultants, total amount not to exceed $500,000. Agreement 2, it's with DEDEC for a total amount not to exceed $500,000. And the third agreement is with Ultra Systems Environmental Incorporated for a total amount not to exceed $500,000. Any questions from any committee members on this item? Or just a quick overview? Just an overview, if you would. Yes.
Chair, if you don't mind, I'd just like to go first to set up the next 3. What I'd like to just point out is, if you notice, the next 3 items are rather repetitive. And so this one is about environmental services, the next one's about engineering services, and the third one's about surveying. I just wanted to point out, as we go through this, you'll notice that they're very similar in their nature. There's their on-call services with multiple vendors. I just wanted to point that out as we go through this. Mr. Kessler can give the opening for it, but you'll see that they're very repetitive in that fashion. We wanted to separate them out based on their discipline, but each one of them are very similar in that fashion.
Thank you. Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Well, good evening, Chair, committee members, Morgan Kessler, City Engineer. So yeah, as Director Wolf said, this is the first of 3 that we have tonight. On-call, various engineering discipline contracts. This committee and the council have seen these on-call agreements before. This is perhaps the second batch, if you will, we'll probably have one more batch at least of these on-call agreements. But essentially what we use these for is the city, the Public Works Department, particularly the engineering department, while performing CIP projects and non-CIP projects, frequently has the need for very specialized professional services. This one is for environmental services, and an example of the type of work that that a contractor would do for us under environmental services is things like NEPA and CEQA environmental compliance, field work for determining if hazardous substances are present in any of our projects, work that's typical of that. So these contracts are designed to address projects that are large enough where we need these specialized services, but smaller than what we would normally issue what we call standalone professional services contracts. Having these on-call services allows us to, in fairly short order, procure the services, whatever discipline it is that we need, and we can get them out in the field and doing what we need them to do fairly fast.
Got it. Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem, you have a question or, oh, Michael, go ahead.
So if I just want to add to that, so we run through the required purchasing process for this, but we talked about this before when we brought some of these on-calls. The idea here is to go through that process upfront one time, right? Because it's a long process to go through that procurement, write the RFP, do the evaluation. As you'll see here in a couple of weeks, we'll be bringing forward the mid-cycle CIP. We have a lot of projects. And to get through those projects, we want to try to do it as expeditious as possible. And when we want to bring on these specialized services, the quicker that we can get through them, the faster that we can do these projects. And so when we do these things up front like this, and we are able to have it to do that process one time, then we can bring these services on relatively quickly to get through those projects a little faster. So the idea here is to do that evaluation and do that procurement, meet the policy and procedures that are required up front. And then once we have those in place, these contracts in place, then it's a little quicker for us to get those services on board through task order processes, following the procedures and policies. In fact, the council just approved those procurement policies that address these specific types of contracts.
Thank you, Mr. Wolf. Yes, Mayor Pro Tem, go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Kessler and Mr. Wolf. I'm just wondering if either of you might be able to give just a ballpark example, a scenario of when we would need to utilize this on-call service and how it might benefit us in that type of a scenario.
Yeah, I can do that. For instance, if we're starting a project, a small, a good example would be like a paving project, a smaller paving project where we're pretty sure that the environmental determination through the NEPA process is going to be what's called categorically exempt. But if we're receiving money from the federal government, we have to we have to have it certified to be categorically exempt, and an outfit such as one of these that you have in front of you could perform that service for us. Another example would be such as doing, well, I'll use a real world example, is fire station number 4. As you know, we're in the design process for a new fire station right next to the golf course and where the Dallas Cowboys practice. There's parts of that region that used to be a county landfill. So in order for us to make sure that where we're intending to put this fire station is safe to build the fire station on, and to make sure there's nothing bad underneath where the fire station would go that you don't want there, i.e. toxic materials, we would contract, or we would issue a task for one of these, similar to these contractors, to go out and do that environmental work for us.
Great. Thank you very much. Much appreciated. Was there anything you needed to add, Mr. Wolf?
The one thing I would add is that also when we're maybe in the middle of a construction and we're not wanting to delay the contractor, we will run into some potential unknown material. This also gives us the opportunity to bring somebody on relatively quickly, take some samples of that material and hopefully not delay the contractor, because that would cost us money through the construction side of the house. So it's not only just the technical services, it's the expedition of those technical services that's also important.
There.
Thank you.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Councilwoman Sue, any questions?
Yeah, just out of curiosity, for my own knowledge, once you issue a task order, are you going through these vendors 1, 2, 3, or you just do task order 1 5 times and then?
So basically
I'm
what
just
they're,
curious.
what they're supposed to do is the task order will come through on like a quasi-competitive basis. So say one of the projects that Morgan or Michael just spoke about comes up, they will write a basic scope for it and what they think they need for the project. They will send it to these 3 consultants, and then maybe all of them provide a proposal back, or only one or whatnot, and then from there they will select the person who can complete it, who has the best proposal or who seems to be fit appropriately for the project.
I see, so the task order is basically a scope of work to all 3, and then you get to choose. Understood.
Based on an evaluation process, whether that, and so it could be based on, just solely on their expertise and their price. It could be based on their expertise, price, and how fast they can get it done.
Right.
And so it allows us to do that evaluation. There are procedures, there are agencies I work for that just rotate them through, right? 1, 2,
Right.
3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. We've chosen to do this process this way.
Got it. Okay, so if you exceed the $500,000 that you're asking for the term of the contract, you'll be coming back to ask for additional money in that case.
That's correct. So these are obviously, Morgan's team went through the selection process. Not every firm has the exact same expertise in every area. And so there may be potential that one of the firms has a much more robust biologist rather than the other ones. And so if we have a lot more biological surveys that we have to do, we may run through that contract a little faster. If that's the case, we may have to come back to council and request an amendment to that contract. But what we're trying to do here is have enough capacity in these 3 contracts such that we're getting through the number of years, which is 5 total
Right.
years, without having to come back to council. But
Right.
but with the number of projects that we have, 127 right now, I think, funded projects, there's a possibility that we can get through these capacities relatively quickly.
So would that kind of procurement, you can say, is that true for all your projects, or does it just depend?
So, I'm sorry, say that question again?
So when you're not going 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, you're issuing, a scope of work. Is that true for almost all your contracts when you're asking for on-call services?
For all of our on-call contracts, we're setting them up that way.
Oh, okay, thank you.
So and Morgan mentioned this in the beginning. We use these on-call contracts for sort of the smaller or middle scopes of work. When we have a larger scope of work, if we're going to go out and do a full-blown EIR for something, we're not using our on-call contracts. This is something that we'll go out with a full RFP and solicit to a larger group, right? We're not using our on-call contracts for such a large scope of work. And when we get to the engineering contracts, you'll see a better example of that. If we were going to hire an engineering firm to design a very large civil project, we're not using our on-call contracts.
So you're not using them for design build? Or,
We would not use them
Either
for
one,
design
got
build.
it.
That would be a correct statement, yes.
okay, thank you.
Yeah, and if I could add just a little bit to the first part of your question. Yeah, we certainly don't want to come back and ask for more funds for these if we have to. So taking that into consideration, these numbers, like for example, the $500,000 maximum over 5 years, we did some research and looked back at what we were paying, what our need level was and what we were paying for these services 3, 4, 5 years back, added a little bit for, you know, the way what things cost these days, and came up with the $500,000 per 5 years, which we think is a fairly close number to what we'd be using.
I'll just make another comment. I know these are professional services, but when we're buying goods, I think we'll have to take into consideration all the tariffs and all the increased cost, so that might affect a lot of things. So just a comment.
Thank you. I think that was a fair number you came up with, and I'm certainly for anything that makes things more efficient and doesn't hold anything up, so I'm fully in support of this myself. So I'll make a motion to approve the recommendation myself.
And I'll second, but just one quick comment, Mayor. I do want to thank you and Mr. Kessler for giving the overview of the item. I know we've done that at each item tonight, but I just want to point out for this specific one, had we not given the overview, we would have went right into the questions and deliberation with no context for the public. I'm looking at the Measure M presentation, and remember, Measure M prohibits a live reenactment of the presentation for the public at the live meeting. There are 5 views for your video, and 3 of us are there's 3 of the views up here. So I appreciate that this is now on the record at the live meeting, that we at least had some context for the public, for folks who watch this later or are watching it now live streamed on YouTube or on TV. So anyways, thank you for the summary of that, and thank you for requesting it, Mayor.
Absolutely.
And I did second the motion.
Thank you.
And Chair MacArthur, just for the record, we do not have any speakers in person or virtually for this item.
Thank you.
Committee Member Teran?
Yes.
Committee Member Basua? Yes. Chair MacArthur?
Yes.
And the motion carries 3-0. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll move to the next item, D4. And much like Mr. Wolf said, this is very similar, just another discipline. This is for multiple agreements for on-call professional engineering services. The recommendation is that the Public Works and Transportation Committee recommend that the City Council approve and authorize the mayor to execute the following agreements, each with an initial term of 1 year from April 30th, 2025 to April 29, 2026, with an option for 4 consecutive 1-year period extensions ending April 29th, 2030 for on-call professional engineering services. And there are 3 agreements. The first one with CSG Consultants for a total amount not to exceed $750,000. The second is with Encompass Consultant Group for a total not to exceed $750,000. And the third agreement is with Sumas for a total of not to exceed $750,000. Madam Clerk, are there any speakers on this item?
Chair MacArthur, we do not have any speakers in person or virtually for this item. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem, would you like an overview as well?
Well, I think
This
Mr.
was
Wolf,
the same, yeah.
thank you. Mr. Wolf did a great job of showing that the mechanics of these items are similar. The only thing I'd ask is the previous one was on environmental services, and this is engineering services, correct? Would you mind just telling us a little bit what on-call engineering services might look like in the real world?
Yeah, certainly. You could think of this on-call professional engineering services. You can think of it as on-call civil engineering services, and under this scope would be, you know, with all the other on-calls, you could think of those as highly specialized pieces of civil engineering work. This is probably the broadest brush scope of all the on-calls, where we would hire one of these firms. They would come in with a civil engineer, a team of civil engineers, and look at a project more holistically, rather than us hiring, say, you know, off the surveying contract or off the environmental contract and saying, we want you to do this very small piece of this larger project that we have a handle on, through other means. This would be hiring a engineering firm to take on whatever problem or project we give them from the whole civil engineering perspective, if you will.
And that could be like small storm drain inlets, curb gutter, street improvements, could be even paving. We have in-house design team, but the workload, and you'll see that again when we bring the CIP, the workload is pretty heavy. And so when we have a lot of these projects where we want to either add to our existing in-house services, or we have a specialized project that requires maybe, hydraulic or hydrology report, or preliminary analysis. Maybe they're doing a rational method preliminary analysis for the hydrology or hydraulics, or they're doing a storm drain design. So these are the kinds of services that we could see hiring very specific or specialized or generalized civil engineering firm that would do that, either to add on to one of our projects, like a paving design project, or a standalone project if we're doing a storm drain improvement project. So that would be an example of a project.
Yeah, another example might be if we had just say a city facility in the middle of a park, and we knew it needed a whole bunch of improvements, including ADA work and parking site work, and maybe even some work associated with the structure itself. And we knew we needed all these things done, but we needed somebody to hire and just send in and take care of it from a generalized perspective. That would be an example of what these services would provide.
All right. Thank you very much, both of you, for the distinction on that. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. And I support it just for the efficiency of it and how to get things done. So I make a motion to accept the recommendation.
I will second.
Madam Clerk, no speakers on this item, correct? And if not, we just get the vote.
That is correct. No speakers. Committee Member Teran,
Yes.
Committee Member Basua,
Yes.
and Chair MacArthur.
Yes,
And the motion carries 3-0. Thank you.
thank you. The next item is D5. Same as multiple agreements for on-call professional. This is surveying services. The recommended action is that the Public Works and Transportation Committee recommend that the City Council approve and authorize the mayor to execute the following agreements, each with initial term of 1 year from April 30th, 2025 to April 29th, 2026, with an option for 4 consecutive 1-year period extensions ending April 29th, 2030 for non-call professional surveying services. 3 agreements, first with DUDEC for a total amount not to exceed $500,000. The second is with M&S Engineering, total amount not to exceed $500,000. And the third agreement is with Omni Design for a total not to exceed $500,000. Are there any speakers on this item?
Chair MacArthur, we do not have any speakers virtually or in person. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem, anything on this item? No? Any? Councilwoman? No? Okay. Then I make a motion to accept the recommendation.
I'll second.
Okay.
Committee Member Basua? Committee Member Teran?
Yes.
Chair MacArthur?
Yes.
And the motion carries 3-0. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We'll move to item D6. Subject 3, general service agreements with Green Coast Landscapers for landscape maintenance services for citywide street and median landscapes. The recommendation is that the Public Works and Transportation Committee recommend that the City Council approve and authorize the mayor to execute the following agreements with Green Coast Landscapes for an initial term of 3 years from July 1st, 2025 to June 30th, 2028, with an option for 2 consecutive 1-year extensions ending June 30th, 2030 for landscape maintenance services in citywide street and median landscapes. There are 3 agreements. The first is for a total amount not to exceed $3,819,000. The second agreement is for a total not to exceed $4,294,000. And the third agreement is for a total amount not to exceed $3,527,000. Just an overview on this item, if you will.
Good evening, Chair, council committee members, Brandon Lopez, Parks Manager. So we went through these, when we resolicited these agreements, we went through, refined the maps that we had, kind of cleaned up some of the areas that were falling through the cracks, included those into this agreement, changed some of the scope. The largest changes that were made was the frequency for maintenance will move from every 2 weeks to once a week for our maintenance in all 3 regions. The queen palm trimming is going to be moved from the grid pruning cycle, which is on a 4 to 5 year trimming, to it'll be on a weekly basis where they'll be trimmed in the areas that they can be reached from the ground. The queen palms will be trimmed during our weekly services. So when they're on site during their weekly maintenance, they'll be trimmed during that time.
Wonderful.
The trees that can be reached from the ground. And then the additional services that we added to the agreement, that'll allow for some flexibility to bring on extra help during weather events, or if we're seeing an influx of trash or debris, we can bring them in for extra visits to kind of mitigate some of that debris and trash that we see through the city, and we can kind of adjust that as it's needed seasonality. So,
Thank you. I'll tell you, this is very dear to me, as I know I've conveyed that to Mr. Wolf, is to beautify this city, right? And so I can't stress that enough. So I'm fully in support of this. But I think one thing, if I can ask, is that there be the proper monitoring to make sure that this work is being done, right? So that we go out there, and I know sometimes it's difficult, but if we can somehow make that a priority, Mr. Lopez, to make sure that whatever they're contracted to do, that it's being done. And I appreciate the queen palms. I know they require a lot more attention, but you know, I am all in favor of, if our city looks beautiful aesthetically, then that certainly promotes home ownership, it promotes business, and it our city looks beautiful. And so I'm in full support of this. Yeah. Go ahead, Mayor Pro Tem.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for the overview on that. You had mentioned about the essentially like on-call or as-needed services that come up, especially like with weather events. I note that Councilmember Perello and I share a portion of the Gonzalez Road corridor where after significant wind events, we'll get palm fronds on Gonzalez Road. And I know that I've, in a safe way, gathered those sometimes if I have time and stack them up and then report them on 311. And I know there are volunteers who would do that as well, just because the frequency between the time that our median landscapers would come out and do that sometimes was in the middle of a wind event. And so is that an instance where we might call on them to assess or address something like that?
Absolutely. So we intend to use those services to increase the frequency on a regular basis, and we'll adjust that as needed, as we'll react to kind of the conditions. But we intend on bringing in additional help Friday through Monday. So we have not staff, but we have a contractor on site during the weekends, but we're not getting those big breaks of service. And then obviously we can bring them in for additional help during large events, large weather events.
Yeah, thank you. And I note that it's going from 2 weeks to 1 week. So that already is a higher frequency and going to be more attention to those medians. And it wasn't that long ago that the medians, I think, we're getting once a month. Is that, am I right on that? I see head nods yes. So we're in a much better space there. So thank you, Mr. Lopez. And I think Mr. Howlett has some additional info.
Chair and committee member Steve Howlett, Assistant Public Works Director. I just wanted to add one more example of these on-call services. It's something that we're experiencing right now. We call it the super bloom. And each year we get through this period of time where we get through the heavy rain events, and then the sun comes out, the temperature goes up, and all the weeds just overnight just start popping up. So you're going to be getting some calls throughout the city, and just understand that staff is aware of it. Staff is working with contractors now, but these additional services that we're speaking about, it's not only for wind events, it's also for the extra landscape work that comes up, such as taking care of these weeds that are coming as a result of the super bloom. So I just wanted to add that as well.
Yeah.
Great, thank you. And I think the city managers referred to it as the weed super bloom, but not that weed super bloom, I think.
If only we could impose a tariff.
Yes. And I think Mr. Wolf has something there.
Yeah,
If you don't mind, Chair, maybe either Brandon or Steve, can you talk about two things I think that are important? Just the QA/QC that goes into the contracts, how we manage them, And the second thing, I know we wrote it in the staff report, but maybe talk a little bit about the cost difference between the current contracts and the new contracts. I think that's important to discuss, just to highlight a little bit.
First, the inspection of the contractors, that's something that is done by our staff and our supervisors. As part of the EAM build out is we're building out inspection templates that'll be used across the board from all of our staff that's out in the field, and that'll help monitor the contractor performance. And then it's a significant difference in cost between our current agreements and the agreements that are starting July pending approval, but it is a $94,000 per year savings moving from the current agreements to the new agreements.
And that includes actually increasing the level of service. So not only are we seeing a reduction in costs, but we also are seeing an increase in service. So these bids came in lower than our previous costs. So that's a good thing.
Thank you.
Thank you. And one last question,
Sure,
if we can, Mayor.
absolutely.
Mr. Lopez or Mr. Howlett, when we look at the regions that we have set up here for each of these agreements, is there somewhere on the Public Works website or somewhere that the public can access the map that shows which region they live in? So if they have a question or a compliment or a complaint, that they can know exactly what they're referring to based on where they live, or they could just see that for their information?
Yes, on the City of Oxnard website under Public Works Parks Maintenance, there's an interactive map on there of GIS layers of different regions and which address is in each region.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
If I can add to that, Chair and committee members, the current map that's up right now is for the current agreement, and as Director Wolf stated, that's for the twice monthly services. So we'll have to be updating those GIS maps to reflect the weekly services and where the contractors are going to be each week. So,
great, thank you. All right, those are my questions. Thank you.
I just want to thank you again for the work you, Mr. Halleck and Mr. Wolf, Mr. Lopez, you put into this project, and came out to be less. We'll be paying less, and it seems like we'll be getting a lot more services. So I just want to make sure that you have the right support from us. You need to make sure that this is paid attention to, and I'm glad that there was a consideration to build in for on-call services, anything just to address just that. With the current rain that we've had, I certainly have seen the growth, but just to have that flexibility. So I'm personally committed to make sure that you get what you need to be able to do this job efficiently. So thank you for that. I make a motion to accept the recommendation.
I'll second.
Chair MacArthur, for the record, we do not have any speakers in person or virtually for this item. Committee Member Teran?
Yes.
Committee Member Basua?
Yes.
Chair MacArthur?
Yes.
And the motion carries 3-0. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll go to the next item, which is D7. This is for service agreements with Green Coast Landscapers for landscape maintenance services for citywide general fund parks. The recommendation is that the Public Works and Transportation Committee recommend that the City Council approve and authorize the mayor to execute the following agreements with Green Coast Landscapes for the initial term of 3 years from July 1st, 2025 to June 30th, 2028, with an option for 2 consecutive one-year period extensions ending June 30th, 2030 for landscape maintenance services in city general fund parks. First agreement for a total amount not to exceed $913,000. Second agreement for a total amount not to exceed $822,000. Third agreement for a total amount not to exceed $1,827,000. And the fourth agreement for a total amount not to exceed $1,008,000. Mayor Pro Tem, you want to hear just a quick overview of this and what this entails?
Yes, if we could just get a quick overview of this one. I know this is similar to the previous one where we're now moving on to the new agreement here for these 4 agreements for our parks split into 4 different zones or regions. And I'm hoping that we could just get a quick overview of that, including the portion where we referred to why we're contracting these specific services out and what it frees up our park staff to do instead of the maintenance items, the routine maintenance items? Excuse me, the landscaping items is what I should say. Thank you.
So similarly to the streets, landscapes, and medians, we refined the scope of services. Currently, we have four landscape agreements for each of our 4 parks regions. We have an additional 5th agreement for additional services that we use for trash, debris cleanup, and a variety of other landscape services. So we consolidated those agreements into the 4 parks agreements. So all of those services are now in each park region agreements, rather than having a 5th additional agreement for additional services. So those are built into the new agreements. So the trash pickups, debris cleanups, all those things are part of the agreement for each region. So those are the big changes with the parks. As far as freeing up the staff for additional services, the routine maintenance will lean on the contractors for those. So our mowing, our blowing, our weeding, trimming, things like that. We'll use the contractors for those. This will free up our staff to spend time on things like some of the extra tree maintenance, the emergency tree services, some of the reactive repairs that we have to do to snack bars, plumbing, playground repairs, things like that. So it'll shift some of our focus to some of those repairs and replacements.
Thank you. And my last question, I note that when we look at each of the bids for those who jumped in on it, and I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bids, is that correct? That's great to see, first of all, but there was a significant cost difference in the bids themselves, but especially from the lowest responsive bidder to the highest responsive bidder. And just so that the public is aware, it was mentioned in the staff report, we have current agreements elsewhere with this particular contractor in the city, correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
I believe June of '24, they with wastewater, OTC, and I believe environmental resources.
Okay.
Use them.
And it seems that we've been satisfied with their level of service and quality of work?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, great. Just so that, if folks look and see, well, that's a significant difference from $44,839 per month to $90,895 per month. Are we getting what we pay for in the negative sense? But I would say that if these folks have already demonstrated that they do good work and they do quality work in the agreements they have, I would like to see that they continue that, and I imagine that they would. So I appreciate the vetting and the mentioning of that in the staff report as well. And those are my questions, Mayor. Thank you.
Wonderful, thank you. Councilwoman, any questions? No? No, again, I'm just excited, and I just want to thank the city manager and Ms. Wolf for getting us to this point. As a native of Oxnard and having, people know I spent my career in the police force, so I got an opportunity to drive around the city. So I've seen it when it was really bad, and now, so thank you for getting us to this point. We're able to do just this. So I think now it's incumbent upon us to just enjoy that. So again, I just want to make sure that us as a committee and as a council give you the resources that we need to make sure that our parks look beautiful, so that our young, families and kids and those that are involved in sports can enjoy that, and families on the weekends and so forth. Just the tremendous benefits that parks bring to people. So thank you. Thank you for getting us here. I appreciate it. So I make a motion to accept the recommendation as stated. Yep.
I'll second it.
Okay. Any callers or speakers on this item, Madam Clerk?
Chair MacArthur, we do not have any speakers virtually or in person for this item. Chair MacArthur?
Yes.
Committee Member Basua?
Yes.
Committee Member Teran?
Yes, and thank you for all your work on this.
Thank you.
And the motion carries 3-0. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone. Unless member has an item for a future agenda, just go.
Thank you, Mayor. Just real quickly, and not to get into extended discussion, but just something that I'd like to say, that there's actually a definition of blight. I encourage folks to look that up. And it's just a little offensive to me for someone else to say that our city is blighted, or that people's homes are blighted or their businesses are blighted, because there is an actual definition of what that is. And anyone who operates off facts and evidence should know that that exists. And It's just not fair and highly offensive to accuse a city you don't even live in or work in of such. So I just wanted to say that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mayor Pro Tem. Councilwoman, anything?
And with that, the speaker that spoke was awfully harsh to our city staff, and I would actually like something to come back to the council in regards to that. I want to hear staff side and also make sure that the public understands that not everything is when people call. There's other, there's another story to that, and it's really not okay to call in and just belittle staff and not really give the whole story.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Unless a member has an item for a future agenda and there be no further business on the agenda, and without objection, we are adjourned. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you. Thank you for making that comment.